Greetings, it's good to be with you today. You know, we're living in a time where it seems that our faith is being tested. And the scriptures, many places, I could go to a lot of places, but I'm only going to go to a few where it says that God even tries our hearts. He allows our hearts even to be tried. Look at Job. Look at David. Look at the book of James. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, and entire wanting nothing. So God does allow us to go through testings. Just like here in 2 Chronicles 32:31. It's important for us to realize that we are in a test. America is in a test right now. We have a presidency that's coming up. And it's sad to look at, when I look at 2 Chronicles, you study it from king to king. One would serve God, and he would make the people serve God, Jehovah. Then another wicked king would come along, and he would serve Baal and all the false gods. That's why Assyria came down, and the 10 tribes of Dan and them up in the northern part of Israel went into captivity, went into the diaspora, where they were dispersed around every nation around, even in the areas where they were not a nation no more because of their idolatry. And here in this situation, that already took place, and you'll find in some of these scriptures here, it speaks about Israel, Hezekiah actually proclaimed a Passover and invited the remnant that was up in Israel still, or the 10 tribes, to come down, be with them, because not everybody went into captivity. Some even went down into Judah to live with them. So the diaspora already took place. In other words, the defeat of the 10 tribes already took place. And Hezekiah was a man of God. He called them and asked them to come down and this was the first time in 260 years, I believe it was, that they had the Passover again. That's a long gap there. That shows you that Israel's up and down, like America now. We're trying to be destroyed by the Democrats, who used to be a good organization, but now it seems like they're New World Order. They're that Antichrist spirit. The Republicans aren't that better either, but yet they still have some conservative values that line up with the Bible. But nonetheless, here we find ourselves in America, that where our faith is being tested. And in this verse of 31, it says, "Howbeit the business of the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, who sent unto him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land." In other words, the ambassadors of Babylon wanted to check out what was going on down there in Judah. And it says, God left him. He's talking about God left Hezekiah, because Hezekiah was showing them too many things. He made a mistake. He made a bad decision. But yet God left him, it says. There's times in our own lives, even right now, we feel like God has left us. Look at all the prayers that went up against homosexual marriage and abortion, and yet we still cannot defeat these things. Yet the Supreme Court went along and voted to make a law that homosexuality is the same, equals God's marriage between a man and a woman. So our faith is being tested today. Our faith is being tested today. See if we're on righteousness, or are we going to follow wickedness? There's so many people that say they're Christians, but yet they follow the democratic ways. Abortion, homosexuality, all these other things. There's a lot of things that we could talk about, but that's the main two things. And they're mocking God. They're trying to destroy our faith, actually. But here it says that God forsook Hezekiah and tried him. tried him. You know, the Bible speaks quite a bit about the word try. God will try us. He allowed us to put us in the place where we're being tried or tested. James chapter 1. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith. You see, our faith is being tested today. Our faith is being tested to see what's really in our hearts. Look at America today. Have we really repented? Yes, there's revivals here and there. Yes, there's godly people trying to fight against the Antichrist system, the one world government, the shadow government. But yet, are we winning? Is a whole nation has the whole nation repented? You see, if you look at Chronicles, you find out when the king served God, then the people served God. That's because he can order them to do so, which they did, like Josiah and like here in Hezekiah. But yet when we have a wicked king, they can make laws that go against our faith. So our faith is being tested today, and it does seem like God has forsaken us. It does seem like we've been turned over to the works of the flesh because the enemy seems like he's winning. But God has a plan. We got to see. That's why Bible prophecy is so important. We got to know what the prophecies are saying so that we can understand why God is allowing certain things. Because man's heart is so wicked and so corrupt that they will be willing to vote against the Bible, which is happening today. Now, Trump is not to me, is not a good example of a Christian. I don't personally believe he's saved, but you know, he represents some good things that will help our country, like the Supreme Court choosing of people on the Supreme Court, abortion, to eliminate Obamacare, which should never have been passed. But nonetheless, he has some good ideas, and God can use a person like that. We still need to pray for Obama and Clinton and them that they get saved. God can save God can save wicked kings or people still. Glory to God. I'm glad he does, because the gospel wouldn't be real. But yet it's people's willingness. They have to be willing to repent. They have to be willing to turn to God. So we still need to pray for these wicked people. But nonetheless here, God tries our heart. What does the word try mean? The word try means to investigate. I like what that word means. Actually, that's a lawyer term. That's a judicial term. God investigates our heart. He examines our heart. So when you look at the word try, God was trying Hezekiah to see what was in his heart, to investigate what was in his heart. You see, God is investigating what is in our hearts today. What is in our hearts? God is investigating what is in America's heart. Is America really repenting? As 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people, you see, if my people, now the world is not God's people. So he's talking to believers. But yet the world can follow the believers. That's why it is important for us to get involved in politics. See, we've let the world do all the politics. So what do we get? We get ungodly leaders. We get ungodly senators. We get ungodly presidents. And they use Christianity so they can get your vote. Now anybody, I knew this. Obama was not a believer. He came from a wicked pastor who is a white hater, who is a communist. In his terminology, he hates America. And he said these things from the pulpit. But yet we allowed this man to get voted in. And it's sad to say that most of the black people and minorities are the ones that's helped him get in. But nonetheless, we need to, or let me say, we need to be faithful when our hearts are being investigated. We need to pray, God, examine our hearts in these days so